Welcome back to the Real AF TV podcast, the show about fishing random takes from the land of 10,000 lakes. Welcome to the Random Take, where we are going to talk about cartoons. But before we do that, I want to talk a little bit about a fishing thing that Tim just told me about.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this as a whole, this is going to fit right in. If you're listening to this on Friday, go back to the catfishing podcast, the catfishing topic. Check it out. It was a good one because you brought up, we've talked about it before, bullheads on your main fishing lake.
Yeah.
They're catfish. Bullheads are catfish.
Right.
You've seen the ball of catfish in that lake?
Oh, I have, yeah.
Okay.
It's been a rare thing, but early in the year I have seen it. And that was kind of like a weirder where the shoreline wasn't quite as developed as it is now. There's certain spots where I saw it. So I would assume you can still find them in certain spots of the lake. It just doesn't happen on the shoreline that I'm on.
Yeah. Okay. But you've never seen catchable ones.
Well, I've seen one. I've seen dead ones. I've seen dead ones.
Yes.
Which are like, I don't know where these are coming from. And I saw one time that was just like picking a fight with a sunfish. I don't know what was going on there.
Even to hear it the second time, third time, whatever. It's funny. It's just funny to thought.
Yeah. And it was like, it was in like 5 feet of water. And there was a sunfish, and it was kind of like the spawning time. So the sunfish is territorial. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if the catfish was doing the bottom feeder thing, just like up there, like, I'm like, yo, children. And then the sunfish is just like, you get away from me, you dirty. Like, I don't know. It was the weirdest thing. I've never seen it before, and I've never seen it again.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that is. And then I was also telling you too a little bit where I was like messing around with the depth finder, trying to get out of my comfort zone. And I was marking some fish in 40 feet of water, and the deepest part of this lake is right there. And that's in 60 feet. So it goes 20 feet deeper, but like 60 foot is like one hole. Right. And otherwise, like most of the lake isn't hitting that 40-foot range either. So I was marking fish down that far, and I'm like, is that where the bullheads are?
Yeah.
And I don't know.
I can't imagine the like bottom feeding thing works there really, because even the sea catfish we were talking about said they find them in the shallows.
Right. And that's what, so I don't know. Hell? Like, I know that they're on that lake, but.
Yeah. And you fish fairly shallow because you fish bass. So, like, what?
Oh, yeah.
So fucking weird. What a mystery.
Yeah. And I fish walleye too. And I've never caught, I know that they eat like worms and stuff. And I know that you can catch them bobber fishing.
Yeah. That's how we used to catch them when I was a kid.
Yeah. And we bobber fish and everything. And I've never caught one before. So I think the numbers are very scarce on that lake.
Right. Okay.
But it's real weird to be like, there's a fish on this lake I've never caught.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, it is for sure. It is very weird.
Very.
Okay. All right. This isn't fishing. We're gonna switch over to cartoons. Right. Let's get into that. So, Tim, this is off the cuff. Didn't write any of this down here with this part, but here's the thing: cartoons, animated, stationary, whatever. We're gonna ride with this. However it goes, wherever it goes. But I know one of my favorite things that we bonded over when we worked at Burger King was we'd always get at the paper and read Boondocks. And it was
hell yeah.
That's a stationary.
Right.
And then remember it got the deal to go animated?
Right. Yep.
I was like, oh shit. I did not watch as much as I should have. I don't know what happened at that point. I just didn't catch it. I just couldn't catch it at the right time. This is before DVR. This is before video on demand.
Yeah.
This is like catch the shit when it's live.
Yep. I think there was at that point in time for me, there was just way too many other shows I was into. Like I just didn't have time for that because that was when all that late night TV was just bangers for me, at least, where you had like The Brock Show and Harvey Birdman and Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Right.
And it's like, I've been watching cartoons for like 3 hours already. Like, sorry.
It's getting late. I'm sorry, Boondocks.
Like, there's a couple of you. There's like, Boondock Saints was almost like the.
No, just Boondock Saints.
Right. I know. As soon as I said it, I'm like, whoops.
Was like, hold on.
Yeah. So Boondocks was like kind of like the start of the anime stuff. And then
Yeah.
that's when I would kind of like tune out, you know. You had all
Yeah,
that
because it
different
got into
anime
that
stuff.
like when you say anime, you mean like Japanese anime.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And
it
we were
was
there
like the
for the
boon
goofy fucking American
exactly.
laughs.
Yeah. I was getting real silly, you know.
Nice
And that's
pause.
yeah. That's what I was doing. I'm just like watching all this, you know, goofy stuff, and then when it got serious, I'm just like, "Oh, I guess it's like time for bed or time to put on a movie."
Right.
Like I just wanted to laugh and I didn't want to watch anything serious. So,
Yeah.
and Boondocks may have
Skirted
had some
both lines,
laughs.
I think.
Yeah. I think there
The
was
even with the comic, right? In the paper, even with the comic, it
right,
skirted.
yeah.
You always wanted to
Yeah.
see what it had. It didn't have like a through storyline most of the time, but it
Right.
did skirt like being serious and being funny.
Exactly. Yep. They would have some jokes in there, and I think that's kind of what the show was like too, where
Mhm.
you know, but it wasn't that random, you know.
Right.
That's what I liked was that
Yeah.
random comedy,
That
that weird
random
stuff,
shit.
and they were trying to write real jokes, and I wasn't willing to wait or to follow along, you know.
Or follow along. Right, right,
I'm
right,
just
right.
kind of sitting there waiting for the weird stuff to happen.
Yep, yep, for
So
sure. I remember when we went to see Aqua Teen Hunger Force the movie. I
yeah.
think it was just me, you, and your wife. That was it. I'm pretty sure of that. We're
Dude,
fucking laughing our asses off. Star
me
Wife
and
comes.
you,
Yeah.
I
Oh
don't
yeah.
think my wife was.
I don't think your
I
wife
don't
got
know.
any of it.
I don't know if she came with. I think it's one of those things where, like, you know, like the ladies are just like, that wasn't funny. You're like,
Yeah.
it
Right.
was. You just are
It-
different, you know?
For real. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about like the people we surround ourselves with or what it is like what that says or means. Or I'm not trying to read into like the socio fucking economical references of Twitter.
Right.
I don't know. Fuck you, internet.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to get to is like that's our experience is chicks around us never understood
No.
the late no, the early 2000s fucking Adult Swim, and
Yeah.
we would just be fucking cry laughing at it.
Oh my god. Yeah, and there's so many good jokes. Like I don't understand why they don't think it's funny. Like if I pulled off those jokes in the wild, if
Yeah.
I was out there in real
Right.
time
Right.
and I had one of those happen, like they would laugh. But
Mhm.
because it's in a silly cartoon and it's random,
Right.
they don't think it's funny. But also there's times where I tell jokes where I get nothing back and I'm just like, I know that would have killed with most people. So I'm not offended that you didn't laugh. You
I constantly tell my wife, that was funny.
that was funny.
That was funny.
Yeah, you should be laughing right now,
Yep.
idiot. Oh man. But yeah, I I had an example of that, like not trying to get too off topic, but like I scroll through like the Instagram reels and I'm just watching videos and stuff and I'll see stuff that's funny and I send it over her way
Mhm.
and just be like, this is funny. And then she'll send stuff back my way.
Mhm.
And then she'll be like, did you watch that? And I'll be like, yeah, I've seen it already. And she's like, oh, okay. And I'm just like, you know, I didn't send it to you because when I watched it, I didn't think it was funny enough to share. But the shit you send me is not that good, and the shit I'm sending you is gold. You know, like I'm only sending the best. I'm sending the greatest hits. You know, and you're sending me stuff that might make me smirk for the most part, or stuff that makes me go, "Wow!" You know, like no mediocre.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
There's definitely differences.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I got you. I
Yeah,
know what you're saying.
and
And
sometimes I think it takes context too. Where I
mhm.
know I've even
Mhm.
sent you stuff
Mhm.
where it's not that funny, but
Yeah.
to be like, here's what I was thinking. when I saw this. Then you're like, oh, dude, I get it. You know?
Right. Well, sometimes I just don't react to it, and I laugh. I just laugh and go, "Yeah, that's good."
Right.
But I
Yeah.
understand how that can happen. Like I
Yeah.
totally get it.
Right.
Okay. Cartoons. We
Cartoons.
can talk
Yes.
more about Adult Swim if you want, but the reason why I brought this up is because why I wanted to bring it up is because we were watching Space Jam the other night,
Oh, yeah.
and
The
I
new
was
one or the
like,
old one?
the old one, the 91,
Okay.
the
Okay.
90s one,
Yeah.
not the 91 one. I don't know when it
Yeah.
was made. 96 Space Jam.
Right.
And I was like, dude, they don't make that kind of cartoon anymore. So
Right.
like the dropping anvils on things, the
Right.
really stretchy, like fake, the exaggerated. That's the word I'm looking for. The really
Yes.
exaggerated, like jumps
Right.
and running, and the way they'll leave their head behind, and then their body will take off, and then the neck will stretch, and the head will catch up. I'm just like, you've had more time in this dad world than I have. Are they making cartoons like this anymore? Like, what happened to that, like, really
No.
heavy animation? Is
Yeah,
it
no,
gone?
they don't. I think it's gone because of just what the world has become.
Yeah.
Where they're just like, you can't show that, you can't show that, you can't show that, you can't show that, can't show that.
Can't
And it's all
You
like,
can't show Michael Jordan getting sucked down a golf hole. Kids won't
yeah,
go golfing anymore.
you can't, right? You can't show anything that's violent and just be able to explain to your child that none of this is real. But when it comes to like anything like sexual, that's fine.
Other
Where
way
it's
around.
like, what?
Oh, I get what
Yeah,
you're saying. No, we're becoming right. When we were kids,
yeah.
if we
It
saw
was
too
the
much
opposite.
cleavage, it was like,
Yeah,
whoa,
yeah,
cleavage, cover up the
yeah.
boy's eyes.
Hold on, back it up here.
Right. And now we're
Yeah,
flipping that, right?
yeah.
Ah,
You still don't see like sexual stuff in cartoons. Like cartoons are like really tame these days, where there's
they are.
nothing.
Yeah.
It's all like it's all the same kind of shit. It's all like
Yeah.
stuff going. There's very little where it's like people going on adventures
Yep.
or people doing like rescue stuff, like that's big with all the kids and stuff.
Sure.
But it's nothing, like where you used to have like just the slapstick crazy stuff.
Yeah. That's
Now it's
exactly what
like
Looney
Paw
Tunes is.
Patrol is
Slapstick.
like,
Thank you.
yeah. Now you have like Paw Patrol where it's just like, oh, this guy's stranded out in the sea, and he's like not doing too bad. He's just like, it's rough out here and I'm getting pretty hungry. And they're just like, oh yeah, the pups to the rescue, let's go save him. And like
Yeah.
back in the day, like you were saying, it was just like, I could go for a snack. And then Bugs Bunny is just like, could you, Doc? And bam, shoots you in the face with a shotgun. You're like, oh shit.
the Yosemite Sam looks over while he's stranded out in the raft. Bugs Bunny turns into a chicken leg. Like,
right.
and then fight ensues.
They're thinking about like, oh, like I could eat him because I'm
Right.
so hungry. I could murder this other guy and
Right.
eat him.
Yep.
And like the whole premise is them thinking that each one is food, so now they have to
Right.
murder each other to
Right.
survive.
Yep.
Yeah, like the
and now it's just
idea.
Like one of the Paw Patrol comes out in a helicopter.
Yeah,
Just picks him up, leaves. Oh, that was close, wasn't it? I had 3 hours in that raft.
The idea that any of that stuff was even like thought of back in the day is so odd when you like think about all of it in context, where they're just like, oh yeah, the Roadrunner and the Wile E. Coyote. They're like, the Roadrunner always wants to eat the coyote, I think. The
coyote wants to eat the Roadrunner.
Yes, the coyote wants to eat the Roadrunner, so that's like a natural thing.
Yeah, you're just like, yeah,
but
okay,
then
that's how animals work.
Yeah, but also like the Roadrunner is fast and smart, and then he just constantly fucks up the coyote. Where it's just like,
Right.
I'm gonna smash a piano on him. I'm gonna hit him with an anvil. I'm gonna blow him up. Like,
Right.
just the fact that these writers were sitting in there and just like, what do you guys want to make a show about? Oh, like that predator prey deal where we were thinking that like the prey was really smart and he constantly just like
fucked up the
does
prey.
like it's all like
predator,
it's a cartoon, right? So he never really gets killed, but we're just gonna murder him every episode.
Murder the hell out of him.
We're gonna murder the hell out of him. We're gonna every way you think of something getting just mutilated, but then we'll cartoon it, like he'll get smashed by an anvil, and then what? It's gonna be like gross guts and stuff. No, he'll just be like real flat. Like when the anvil lifts, he'll just kind of like float down because he's thin like paper now, And then
right. So awesome.
It's like every day is just a different way to murder him, but then we'll cartoonishly make it the reveal of how he is not murdered.
Right.
Get it?
Get it? And they're like, perfect.
Yes. Well, what do you got for the next cartoon? Oh, like same thing, but like a rabbit and a dude. Oh, okay. What about the next one? Oh, same thing, but like a giant chicken and a dog.
Well, I say that sounds fantastic.
But like this time they're gonna like punch in and out of work because the giant chicken also has a job. It's like what? Okay. All right.
Okay. Right. Oh, that's so good. That's why also why I wanted to bring it up is because we're now starting to watch cartoons. There are now favorites, and the majority is us just pushing the shit that we watched because we want to watch it again anyway. We got Paramount. We were Nickelodeon kids. We're just like, yep, let's watch Rocco, Cat Dog, cool. Rugrats.
Right.
We're there. We click on all the cool, all the shit that we thought was cool.
Yeah,
it's not a big deal.
Yeah, you're watching all this stuff and you're just like, okay, Rocco, yep, and dogs, and just like where there's always like a cat and dog, and then all of a sudden they're just like, what if there's two dogs? It's just like that kind of sounds dumb. Perfect. Two stupid dogs. That's perfect. That's what it's gonna be. And you're like, yeah, dude, I'll watch Two Stupid Dogs.
That's a real thing now, right?
That's a real cartoon. Like it was a real cartoon. It was the same like Ren and Stimpy era style.
Really?
Yeah, Two Stupid Dogs.
I thought that was that Pug show.
No. Yeah, I think. Let me make sure that I'm not messing this up. It was
no. Please look it up because that sounds hilarious, and I want to find it.
Yeah, Two Stupid Dogs. There was like a skinny little dog, and then a big one. It was 1993. It only had two seasons, but I remember watching it. Two Stupid Dogs.
Dude. That's fantastic. Yeah. My wife loves the Hanna-Barbera stuff. Did you ever have like Yogi?
Hanna-Barbera was like, for whatever reason, that was on cable, I think.
It was, yeah. Like in our era, it was put on. Fuck, I can't remember the name of the channel right now. I should have written it down.
Was it on Nick or was the Cartoon Network? Right? Wasn't that?
It had its own Boomerang.
Boomerang, yes, you're right. You're right. Yeah,
it like basically Hanna-Barbera just got its own fucking network.
Yeah.
And it was Boomerang. I remember that. It was fucking sweet. Like, dude, Scooby-Doo and all that shit. My wife loves Yogi the Bear. That shit. We have collections on DVD even.
Oh, damn, dude. I never really got into much of that stuff. I knew Yogi the Bear because I had some of those tapes and stuff because that was like shit my dad grew up on.
Yep.
Yeah,
for sure.
So I knew Yogi the Bear and that what was that moose?
Bullwinkle, Rocky and Bullwinkle. You're talking about. Bullwinkle was the moose.
Yeah, Rocky and Bullwinkle. Yep.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, dude. I remember watching those, but I didn't really grow up on that stuff too much. So no, for whatever reason, Two Stupid Dogs was on the network. I remember, I remember going to hotels, and then they had like cable, and I'm like, oh shit, I get to watch Rugrats. Like I never
Yeah,
got to
dude.
watch Rugrats. And then for the first time, I get to watch Rugrats. And it was like this whole different world where they're like, don't you want to go outside? And you're like, I do, but also in here's cool too. Because I get to watch shows I've never watched before and I know everybody else watches and I know it's good stuff.
Right. Like, I've heard of
And
Rugrats, but I haven't had this
oh,
much time with them before.
side note on the cartoon thing,
Mhm.
since I sent you that picture the other day where I was just like, dude, did you know Tommy Pickles voiced by
Oh,
a gilf?
right.
It was a hot grandma, basically, man. She's got to be like 60 and she's not bad looking. So I was like, that's crazy. But then
Right.
also, do you know who voices Chucky?
Oh,
I don't
shit.
know. I don't know her actual name, but like, do you know the other more famous character she voices?
Is it Millhouse?
It's most of the Simpsons. She's also Bart and
Yes.
like a bunch of stuff. Yeah, I
Yeah.
had no idea. I
Yeah.
seen a clip of her the other day doing Bart where she's just like,
I didn't know she was
you
Bart,
know,
though.
"Oh, eat my shorts," or whatever she says,
Yeah.
and then she's changes it just a little bit to, like, more of, like, a nasally, and then you're like,
To be
"Oh, there's Chucky." You're like, "What the
Chucky's just
fuck, dude?"
oh my god,
I
I
had
would
no
never put
idea.
those 2 together.
Yeah, and it's
Oh,
just like,
dude.
it's it's so like, when you close your eyes and listen, because when you watch her,
Yeah.
it doesn't even, like, sound right, but then you close your
Right.
eyes, it does sound like her, but, like, you still don't you're like, "I don't know."
Right.
Because when you're watching this lady's face, it doesn't feel the same. But then when you close your eyes and you picture it, you're like, "Oh, damn it, that's holy
Yeah.
crap."
Dude, it's so weird. And also, you gotta
Yeah,
remember that half the time, like, we don't sound like this either.
right,
In real life, we don't sound or, like, I shouldn't say that. We don't sound like this to a phone.
right.
This is equipment. This is well-calibrated equipment that we're talking
Exactly.
into that makes us
Yes,
sound this
yes.
way, and we sound so
Yep,
different on the phone, so that makes it different that makes it harder too.
for sure, for sure. No, but so getting back to, like, what we grew up on, not necessarily by choice with all these because I didn't really care for them. Like, I've always been more of a humor guy, so I liked watching the funny stuff.
Yeah.
But Recess was
Oh,
dope.
yeah.
Recess was good, and then, like, on all the network stuff, it would be, like, Recess, and then there was a Batman that would play, and I was never a huge
Really?
fan of that, but I would watch it, you just
Okay.
watch, like, Batman fighting stuff,
Yeah.
and I'm like, "No, not for me," and then, uh, Gargoyles was, like, right
Oh,
after that, so I would
yeah.
watch Gargoyles, and I would just be
Yeah,
like,
dude.
again, where I'm just, like, not really interested in this, like, serious stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but then like Darkwing Duck,
Yes.
Darkwing Duck,
Yep, I watched
let's
Darkwing too.
get dangerous.
Yes.
I still all the time
Darkwing
like I'll be
Duck.
walking around and just random just be like, if there's trouble, you call DW. That's a good line, you
It is. That's really
know.
well I forgot about that one. That's really good. I used to
But
'cause those were on regular network, like ABC, right?
yeah, do you
Yeah.
remember Bonkers?
Yeah, that weird cat thing?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
used to watch that shit too.
That shit was on there too, where they
I
had some
forgot
of
about it
those.
until right now, but yeah.
Yeah, they had on Bonkers, they had some weird characters. There was, like, a Swedish guy that that was just I'm almost like, I think Chris Hardwick voiced some of these characters
No way,
because
dude.
yeah, because he talks about, um was it on Rocco where there was, like, a cow that walked upright
Yeah,
with the
Heifer. I
udders?
mean,
Y yeah, that's
it's
Chris Hardwick.
that's what?
Yeah, pretty sure because he voiced
Yeah,
that
yeah,
and
that's Rocco's best friend.
yeah, so I'm pretty sure he's the one that voiced that, and because he has a stand-up joke where he was talking about some nerd when he was younger that would, like, take weird, like, swallow in the middle, like, of a sentence. You're like, "What are you doing, Randy? You knew you were about to talk, like, swallow before you talk." And then, I guess the cow was a male, and
But his
then
name
he
was
was
Heifer.
like so then I would have these random, like, nerds running up to me just being like, "Male cows don't have udders." So I'm pretty sure he voiced that. But then I also think because of one of his other jokes that he voiced there was like a weird like Swedish guy in there that
Oh no,
would
it's a
sometimes.
different. If it's a different person, I'm looking it up right now.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, but I'll also bring it up something crazier. So I don't know what Chris did.
Okay.
But, oh, you're talking about the Nickelodeon movie.
Oh, maybe that's what
Barnyard.
it was
It
then.
was a movie and then it got made into a show. Barnyard. You're talking about Barnyard. I guarantee it.
Okay.
Crazy.
That makes
Crazy.
sense because yeah,
Go ahead.
but he had so maybe that wasn't him, but there was another person that there was I just remember the crazy Swedish guy and that like accent. Like that's one of the first accents where I started like, do you want me to clean the floors? And you know, like this
Yes.
I remember him coming in like saying this weird shit. I'm just making up a random thing to say because I don't remember what it ever talked about.
Right. I
But
know.
this accent
I know
where
what
you're
you're talking
talking
about.
like this and doing this and this and you're just like, what the fuck is that? I remember being a kid where he didn't have to say anything. I just laughed at how goofy he sounded, you know? You're like 8 years old and you're like, listen to this idiot. It sounds so
Yeah.
stupid.
I remember that. I don't know if it was like across other, things, but
Yeah.
I remember that. Just hearing that accent in a cartoon as a
Yeah.
kid and going like, okay.
Okay, whatever that is. And there's also like a weird cat thing here. Okay. Like when you think back on a lot of
Yeah.
these cartoons,
Yeah.
it's real wild, weird
They
shit,
were
man.
wild shit for sure. And that's what okay, so with Rocco, we were talking about Rocco.
Yeah.
SpongeBob is
Yeah.
Heifer. SpongeBob does the voice for the cow
Oh, he does?
in Rocco. Yeah. The
Okay.
same guy who
That's
does
crazy.
SpongeBob.
Yeah.
So there's still
Nuts.
something wild about Heifer and that. I can't
Yeah.
find the Barnyard the show though. 'Cause I know it got made into a TV show too. There was a Barnyard movie, and then I'm sure Chris probably because Kevin James did the cow for the movie,
Okay.
and Kevin James didn't do the TV show.
Right.
Kind of like what we were talking about earlier.
That makes sense. Yeah.
That was off the podcast that we were talking about that. We're not going to get into
That
that because
is crazy. That's
yeah. So
that's it's so funny to hear too where they have like these other voice actors have these abilities and Patrick still cracks me up because you have all these people where they're all like able to do this stuff and if you showed me a picture of them, I wouldn't know who it was at all.
right.
But from watching Coach with my parents
Yep.
when I was a kid,
Loved Coach.
Patrick's in
Awesome.
Coach. He's one of the guys. And his talking voice is Patrick. That's just who he is all the time.
Yep.
He can't shut that shit off. So when you hear Patrick, I'm like, that's the guy from Coach. You know?
hey, that's like Coach's assistant. I don't even know. He wasn't the assistant.
Yeah.
He just
It's
popped
like that
in every once in a while.
Yeah. Remember that dumb guy on Coach that talk like this? Now he's a dumb starfish on this show with this SpongeBob.
It's so great. No.
So you had cable, right?
So I had cable. So I that's how I know like Barnyard and Rugrats and
Yeah. So
Rocco,
that's what you grew up on was all that good stuff.
all that Nick stuff. But also you with like Darkwing Duck and Gargoyles and stuff like that and Bonkers. Like I didn't really watch Gargoyles. I remember when it was on. Watch a little bit of Bonkers. Watch Darkwing Duck, but I remember it when it was on Disney Channel because ABC, Disney, they're owned by the same thing. So like I remember actually catching it when it was on Disney. So I don't know if I was behind the curve or ahead of the curve. I have no idea.
You were probably ahead of the curve because that's how it worked with me. Was I got everything late. That's you were ahead of the curve. Yeah, like even The Simpsons. I know Simpsons, I think, was always on Fox, but I always watched The Simpsons. It was like from 5 to 6. They would play like 2 back-to-back episodes.
Right.
So I always watched the replays. And then every once in a while, they wouldn't play them in order.
No.
Every once in a while, they'd play like one from like this first season. And you'd be like, oh, this is when they didn't know how to animate and they didn't know how to do anything. Like you'd be mad because you're like, damn it, this old ones suck.
Yep, I remember that. I remember I was watching, 'cause I didn't watch a lot of Simpsons, and that was the one thing that that was one of my big, I don't, it's not like a defining thing, but like looking back at things, that was
Yeah.
where my big cut was, because
Okay.
everybody would talk about Simpsons. Everybody would love the Simpsons. Simpsons. This is middle
Yeah.
school, early high school, and stuff like that. I didn't realize all of what was going on at the time when it was happening. I
Yeah.
was watching South Park already.
Oh, right.
And
Yeah.
everyone was like, "Oh my god, Simpsons is so funny." And I'm just like, I've never seen a giant satellite come out of anybody's ass on Simpsons. So I don't know how funny that could be.
Right. Yeah. No,
And I'm
I
not shit
even
talking The Simpsons at all. I don't mean to be
right.
like shit talking everybody. And I didn't shit talk it then. It was just like I didn't realize it then even that I was just watching cable.
Yeah. Right.
Like,
Yeah, and for sure, like I didn't get to watch. I remember when South Park first came out. I
mhm,
was such a fan of the premise and even hearing about what these shows were and just
mhm,
hearing some of the jokes
mhm.
that I had like Who Killed Kenny shirts
Oh, fuck
before I
yeah.
even really knew what the show was. Like
Right.
I was like, he dies every episode. I love that. I don't know what's
That's
going
cool.
on. It's weird. It's cool. I love it. They're just
Yep.
like, yeah, we don't have to follow rules. We'll just do whatever we want. And you're like,
Right.
yes, I love it. Because
Yeah.
some of these other ones are just like they have to follow these rules and these scripts, and like
Mhm.
Simpsons was a little bit off the wall and stuff, but there was always a storyline. So sometimes getting to the jokes took a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just know that for sure I've always been into random comedy because the stuff that sticks
Mhm.
out to me, I have like favorite episodes from most shows
Mhm.
where they weren't necessarily the best show ever.
Yeah.
Like I know a really good moment from Peppa Pig that I didn't see coming, and that show I don't like otherwise.
Sure,
But there
sure.
was one good moment that was good, and then again from The Simpsons, like The Simpsons, we talked about it in a different episode where it was like the holiday specials
Yeah.
were the bangers, where I'm just like, yes,
Oh.
this is gonna be like a mashup of what I like. I
Mhm.
like to
Mhm.
see like the references and all that other shit. But for the most part, like The Simpsons was good, but I didn't like laugh out loud to a lot of things.
Sure.
But every once in a while, they'd hit you with a random part that just because I
Something that
remember
just
it.
catches you off guard, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember like it's clear as day. I can't remember the premise or why, but there's one part where like Marge is like not going to sleep. She's like sleep deprived. She won't do it and stuff. And she's
Mhm.
like driving someplace and she's like, I'm just not gonna sleep. I'll just keep going. And all of a sudden she like dozes off and her head hits the steering wheel
Mhm.
and she honks the horn. She goes, "Meow." She goes, I'll get it. And like opens the door and just like barrel rolls out. And just like the,
Hell yeah, dude.
the catching me off guard, like that one I died on. I'm just like, oh, that was a good as joke. Like,
Right, right, right. Totally, totally out of character. Like
yeah,
that was just something you just couldn't see coming.
right. But if you ask me to tell you another joke that the Simpsons have done, I can't. I can tell you the parodies that they've done on of
Sure.
like horror movies and stuff on the
Sure.
Halloween specials, but
Yeah. Yeah.
besides that, I got nothing. And I have
Right.
watched probably like 100 hours of The Simpsons because that's
Right.
all I got to watch when I was a kid. And the only
Right.
thing that stuck was that random ass that
Mm.
and the Canyonero because they had a car that they just had a fake commercial for the Canyonero and that I,
It was just catchy enough to stick in your
it was
brain.
catchy enough. I never forget that one, and like it would burst into flames and shit, and they were still selling it even though they knew it was a giant
Even
piece
they
of
knew it
shit.
was you.
But yeah, and
Oh,
then
that's
like
hilarious.
South Park definitely like changed the game
For
with
sure.
so many ways.
Yeah. I
But
think it
yeah,
really
the
blazed the path for those, like kicked off the top of this topic with. I think it really blazed the path for Aqua Teen and
yeah,
all those other things where it was like South Park wasn't just reset every back then. South
yeah,
Park just reset every time. It's like the whole town would get destroyed.
right,
Reset. Who
yeah.
cares?
Yeah, or you
It
can
was
just
well
make a
written always, I thought,
right.
which is what kept me watching.
Yeah, and you still have to like tell a story, but to be able to tell a new story every time with like whatever you feel like doing,
Right.
and you
Which
can
they're
just
not
like
doing anymore, but that's not the topic, not the point.
right, right. But I mean, like Aqua Teen Hunger Force did that.
Right.
I think the Brock show was probably a little bit too much nonsense for everybody, and that's why it didn't stick.
Yep.
You know, that
Yep.
one was insane, but
Yeah. But
there was
even like
parts.
C-Lab and all
Oh
those
yeah,
shit like that.
C-Lab was a genius one because they basically took a cartoon that already exists and we're just like, we're gonna voice over it and make it into our own. And then they eventually started animating it to like completely new scenes and doing whatever they
Right.
wanted to. But I
Right.
think the
And making it
first
weird as
season
fuck.
was them just like dubbing over an old cartoon.
Oh, I didn't even know that. I
I
knew it was
thought,
an old cartoon. That I thought they were just like making.
yeah.
Shit, that's
Well,
so.
no, because it was called C-Lab 2020.
Oh,
The original. That's why at the beginning it shows that 2020 and then like the
the
one
one.
kind of falls in place.
Fuck, I never.
Because C-Lab 2021 is the cartoon, like
Is
the
the
nonsense
the
version.
original like the original like
Yeah,
based on
the
concept.
original is 2020. The goofy one is 2021.
Right, but I meant the original creation of these guys based on.
Yes.
This is where shit's gonna get weird.
Yeah,
We're
and
gonna
they're
take
all
this
real
one
characters.
and we're gonna make an original weird ass piece out of it.
Yeah, and they're all real characters. I have no idea what any of them sounded like. I don't know, but
Right.
yeah, it's
That's awesome, dude.
yeah.
All right, we could go on about this all
I
freaking
could for
day,
sure.
but before we do that, we better do the old like and subscribe and all that stuff on YouTube, please. Seriously, it helps out the podcast. Also, the reviews, iTunes, Spotify, and anywhere else that you know of. We're on Amazon. If you got the Amazon music stuff, the good, that's another place to find us. I was going to say Audible, but I don't know how that works. So somebody, if you do, let us know.
Yeah, I don't
because
know.
Audible and Amazon, it's kind of goofy right now still. Either way, I know you can find us on the Amazon app. If you look up Real AF TV, remember it's real like fish and real. If you go over to realaf.tv, that's where you find everything from the Patreon to the YouTube link to the Spotify link and everything in between, which is just our links to social media where we are Real AF TV. Real like fish and real. Don't forget, because we are primarily a fishing channel, podcast,
Right.
videos, social outlet, however you want to look at it. And then in the podcast, we do this weird stuff like talking about cartoons. Tim,
right.
what did I forget? I feel like I'm forgetting something in the outro here.
I don't know, man. The Monster Bass, Patreon, those things.
Yeah. Make sure to follow the links in the YouTube description. Yeah. And if you're not on YouTube, shoot over there. Check it out. We're working on more video. We got some. Yeah. We got some in the can, so to say.
And if you're looking for a good kids cartoon, Bluey's the shit.
Dude, all right. Let's roll on Bluey, because seriously, we got into some dad stuff. I knew we would get into some dad stuff, but Bluey, yeah, it's Australian. Is that true? Or is it just voiced by Australians?
No, it's definitely like Australian because, I mean, maybe it's just voiced by Australians, but it's definitely written by Australians too.